What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 1 of my new video series about how real estate can help you, all the different ways you can buy real estate, the different types of real estate you can buy, investments, residential, etc., etc. And today we are going to talk about house hacking. So first off, what is house hacking? Is when you purchase a property, whether that's a single family home, a condo, a townhome, a duplex, triplex, and you plan to live in the unit yourself and rent out the other bedrooms or units, depending on what you buy. And the rent that you receive from the bedrooms or the units should cover some or all of the expenses that it costs while you live there. So it's kind of a win-win. And in most cases, not most cases, some cases, you actually will be making a little bit of money while you're living there for free. So you might be saying, why would anybody do this? Because about 20%, just a little under 20% of the average US household's expenses were dedicated towards housing costs. If you can reduce or eliminate that housing expense that takes up about 20% of people's annual average expense cost, so 20% of your annual expenses being eliminated, which is on average, the national average is a little under $11,000 per year. What could you do with an extra $11,000 or about $900 per month? Think about it this way. If you're currently paying, $900 per month in housing expenses, and you can find a property that you can actually live there for free and rent it out and make a little bit more on the side, call it $100 per month, that's $1,000 swing right there. $12,000 per year that is staying in your pocket. If you think about it that way, this is just for example purposes, but what would you do with an additional $12,000 per year in your pocket? But there's a ton of other benefits to house hacking, and I'm actually doing it myself right now. So I'm not here just to bust your chops. I'm actually doing this myself. You're hearing this from somebody who is house hacking currently. This is valuable information, and I think everybody will enjoy it. If you watched the last video, it's always cold in my basement, or it's always cold in my office if my CPA is listening to this. Go Bucks! So there's 4 major advantages to house hacking, and the first one is occupants get the best financing terms. Owner-occupant financing has much better terms, a much lower interest rate than investment financing. Investment financing, most cases, you got to get 20% down minimum. You got a $100,000 place, it's going to cost you 20 grand minimum. And more often than not, the term of the loan on those are 20 years, and your interest rate is going to be much higher as well. But right now, I think they're at about 4%, around 4%, hovering right around there. As where conventional financing or owner-occupant financing, you can actually get all the way down to 0% down. It's kind of crazy. So we all know where interest rates are at right now, around 2.6%, 2.6 to 2.7. Your interest rate is actually almost a whole percentage and a half lower doing owner-occupant financing. So the other kicker with this, with the owner-occupant financing option, you will get 30 years to pay that off. An investment financing option, those typically are about 20 years. Which means your payment is going to be a little bit higher than it would be with owner-occupant financing. Say you find a $100,000 property and you pay 3% down, which means your loan amount will be $97,000. You're gonna have 30 years to pay off that $97,000 with the interest rate at 2.6, we'll call it 2.6%. Now with the investment option, you are going to have to bring 20% down to pay for this property. Then your loan amount will be $80,000 rather than $97,000, but you're gonna have 20 years to pay that off with a higher interest rate. So benefit number 2 to house hacking, you're actually actively learning how to invest in real estate. Because when you're house hacking, it's kind of a hybrid way of investing in real estate, because you're actually living there as a primary residence and it's being used as an investment because you're bringing in rental income. So you're living in the property while you're learning how to invest in real estate. So everybody makes mistakes while they're learning, whether it's the stock market or investing in real estate. But it's much easier to recover while you're on site and you're personally involved in the property. So benefit number 3 to house hacking is it's a smooth transition into rental properties. So when you live in a property, you get to know it pretty well, and you get to know what kind of tenants your property attracts. So when you're ready to bounce, you have an increased level of comfort with the property and with your tenants as a landlord. So backing up a little bit, because of the low interest rate loan that you got from owner-occupant financing, once that property is fully rented, once you've moved out, you are likely going to get the best possible cash flow that you can on that property. Speaking of smooth transitions, this brings me to benefit number 4 to house hacking. This house hacking method of buying real estate is repeatable. So once you've lived in that property for a year, you can then go purchase the next one doing the same exact method and then replace a tenant with the room that you were living in your current home. So say that $100,000 property that we purchased has 3 bedrooms, and your monthly expenses, your property taxes, your mortgage, mortgage, your insurance, say that all adds up to about $700 per month, and you're living in one of the 3 bedrooms and renting the other 2 out for $350 a month, and you're just breaking even. So when you go buy that next place, you can then rent out your bedroom. Say you keep it the same amount, $350 per month. At that point, you're then bringing in $350 per month in cash flow. Now, with owner-occupant financing or conventional loans, you are only able to have 10 of those under your name at one time. The maximum is 10. Let's say you just do that 10 times. You buy a place, live there for a year, move out, buy the next place, replace the bedroom that you were living in. Say you do that 10 times. For simplicity purposes, say that 10 times. We'll say that you make the same exact amount on each property that you buy. All 10 places bring in $350 every time that you move out and rent that bedroom that you were living in. By year 11, once you've moved out of that 10th place, you've got that rented out, you're bringing in $3,500 per month on all 10 of those places. And guess what? You own $1 million in real estate now too. 10 times 100,000. Do the math. And don't forget, you just lived for free for 10 years and made a little bit of money on the side as well. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Kyle, I had to pay $3,000 for that down payment. And, over 10 years, I had to pay $30,000. Well, settle down. You did pay $30,000 over 10 years. But don't forget, your property is also appreciating in value most times. And you're paying down the principal on those properties while your renters are paying for it. So the value of your property is going up and what you owe on each property is going down. And if each property costs you $3,000 to purchase, and as soon as you move out, they're paying you $350 per month, you'll have that down payment paid back from the rent that you're receiving at $350 per month. You'll have that back in 9 months. Again, this is a hypothetical situation. It applies in most cases. The last little nugget I've got for you is your net worth has now substantially increased over these 10 years. That's it. There are the 4 steps or 4 benefits to house hacking. If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me on any platform. Shoot me a text, give me a call. It's a really good way to get involved in real estate, invest in real estate. And if rentals have ever been up your alley, this is probably the safest way to do it, just because of, you are hands-on with everything too, and you get to understand the ins and outs of what it takes to own a home. If you haven't before, give me a shout if you have any questions. I'm always available. So hope you found something valuable here, and see you next week.